Welcome back to the OptiShot Academy. I'm Chad.
And I'm Ben.
All right, wedge training is what we're doing. We're trying to get you better wedge players because if you can hit it closer to the hole, your scores will go down. It's that simple. So, Ben, is it fair to say that we're swinging that the divot or the depth of the divot or the height of the swing matters to hitting solid shots?
I have to agree with that.
All right, so how are we going to experiment? How are we going to play around with this? What do we got cooking this week?
This is another fun one. So we're going to experiment with divot depth. So what you're going to do at home is you're going to try to take a lot of turf, as much as you possibly can. You're going to try to take no turf, and then you're going to try to take somewhere in between those two.
All right, so we're doing another experiment, and we're just going to try to run the club into the ground.
Yep.
Too high, like I missed the turf, and then somewhere in between?
Yes, sir.
Show us what that could look like. Where will you start?
I'm going to start with no divot. So I'm going to try to not even touch the grass at all and just see what happens.
All right.
Bing! There it goes.
There it goes. So for some of you at home, if you experience what we call ping-ponging back and forth over the green, it's okay. We've all been there. You might hit thin shots. So is it possible to say that if we're experiencing thin shots, that the club could just effectively be swinging too high?
That is true. So when the golf club is coming into the golf ball, what Chad is referring to when he says too high is the golf club is coming into the ball and it kind of hits the equator of the ball. So it's not low enough. So that's why my ball did not get in the air.
Got it. All right, so from here, would you go, that was too high, no turf. Would you try to run that club into the ground and see what happens?
Let's do it.
All right. So like a deep divot if you're outside in the springtime?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't do this on concrete.
All right. That sounded radically different. So I could hear the club run into the turf there.
Yeah, it was better than the no divot. I'm not sure I like the feeling. So for me, we talk a lot about the one motion, and I feel like when I'm trying to take a deep divot, I am hitting at the golf ball, and I don't necessarily like that sensation.
I wonder if it could help people at home just start to learn to hit it solid, where they start to get some interaction with the ground and the club starts swinging lower, and I wonder if it could work for some people.
Yeah, it will. Same thing with a no divot. So a lot of times when we have players come see us at the Golf Leadership Academy, the player that's taking a divot that's a little bit too deep, if you tell them not to take a divot, usually they brush the grass beautifully and the wedge shot comes out much differently. So don't rule out any of these options. That's why we keep on saying it's so important to continue to run these experiments just to see what's going to work for you. There is no right and wrong.
Okay, so first one was too high. Second one was too low. You ran it into the ground, didn't quite like the feeling. Show us what somewhere in between would look like. That had a different sound.
That was pretty close.
Good shot. Good.
So one of the things that I would like to do, so I know we just talked about no divot, deep divot, and then somewhere in between. I would like to run one last experiment to where I try to take a divot that's somewhere in between deep and maybe just brushing the grass.
So if we go back to that slight, moderate, severe scale, where would you say? Slightly lower than somewhere in the middle, or moderately?
To moderately hit the ground here.
Okay.
I'm back.
That was the best contact of them all.
Yes.
All right, very good.
That's the importance of running the slight, moderate, severe. So all three of those experiments I ran, I didn't like the contact on any of them. So I had to find a happy medium there. So I just ran an experiment where I was trying to hit the ground moderately, and bing, I found what I was looking for.
Very good. So low point is the fundamental, and relative to that low point of the swing, the club can be too high, it can be too low and too early, or it could be somewhere in the middle. So you can get better at this skill faster if you run these experiments, play around. You're going to find out what works for you and use the ball as a teacher. Having said that, enjoy your training this week, keep it up, and we'll look forward to seeing you the next time at the OptiShot Academy.